Okay, so I'm calling this one Why No One Vacations in Bangladesh. And nobody does vacation in Bangladesh. I was with a guy this morning and he went off to the Caribbean, which people do. People go to Rome, people go to Paris, people go to London. I don't know anybody who goes to Bangladesh, even though I hear they have great beaches. And the reason nobody goes to Bangladesh is because when I say Bangladesh to you, you immediately think war, poverty, flooding, disease, bugs, little huts, a very unpleasant place. That may or may not be true. I don't have the vaguest idea because I've never been to Bangladesh, although I've been to a lot of places. But the image we have, the image you have of Bangladesh, is an image that was created by the media, that kind of giant abstract that lives in the sky. And the reason you have that image of Bangladesh is because every once in a while the BBC or CNN or somebody else will send a crew to Bangladesh to do a story. And what kind of story they do? They do a story about disease or famine or flood. That's the only reason they go. If you're sitting at a news desk at London or New York or Atlanta or wherever you are, and you have to make a decision with a limited number of crews where you can send them, and somebody says to you, let's go do a holiday vacation stories of Bangladesh, you fire that person because you think you are a moron, you don't understand anything about the news business. But if they come in and they say, global warming is causing flooding in Bangladesh and 30,000 people have died, well maybe 30,000 not enough, maybe you need 300,000 to get there, then you'll send a crew. The upshot is that Bangladesh, poor country that they are, suffers from an oppressive global footprint, media footprint. And the only thing people think of when they think of Bangladesh is crap. If, like I say to Somalia, you think crap. The funny thing is, if I say to you, Titanic, you have a vision in your head. I know what it looks like. I saw the ship sink. You didn't see the ship sink. You saw the movie. So media of any kind, news in general, or movies or stuff like that, they create a kind of a character and a personality that is very hard to break. And if you get a bad reputation based on the media footprint, well, a lot of things don't happen. You don't get a lot of tourists going to Bangladesh or Somalia or bad places like that. Therefore, you don't get revenue, you don't get hotels, you don't get restaurants, you don't get people investing money, and basically, as a country, you are screwed. I mean, you probably know we're doing this thing with Brooklyn Television in a very underdeveloped or interested, paid to, if that's a term, neighborhood in New York where they have the same reputation. The only time local news ever goes there to do a fire, a robbery or a murder or something like that. And so they have a bad media footprint. The importance of this media footprint is like billions and billions of dollars or trade or restaurants or tourists or investment or anything like that. And it's messed up. It's messed up because the reputation of East New York or Brownsville or Harlem or Bangladesh or any other place is in the hands of a couple of schmucks who sit in the assignment desk at CNN or in London or in Atlanta, and they decide what the rest of the world is going to think. And the impact of this is absolutely horrific and catastrophic because these people, whether they're in Bangladesh or in East New York, they have no control over what their footprint is, which is messed up. So the interesting thing about Bangladesh is the population of Bangladesh, as I just taken as an example, is 116 million people. Do you know how many smartphones there are in Bangladesh? This was really interesting. 106 million smartphones in Bangladesh out of a population of 116 million. You know what that means? That means there are 106 million camera crews and edit suites and mojo reporters or journalists or whatever you want to call them walking around in Bangladesh right now. Now, if the government of Bangladesh put 1% of them to work, and I bet the unemployment rate there is more than 1%. So if you took 1% of the people who have smartphones in Bangladesh and you had them every day go out and do positive stories about the fantastic beaches and the lovely wildlife and the fantastic nature preserves and the great food that you can have and stuff like that, that would be 1 million videos every day. And if you flooded the blogosphere with 1 million positive videos from Bangladesh every single day, well, you know what you would do? You would bury CNN and the BBC. Actually, I looked up, the BBC has one journalist in Hong Kong who was supposed to cover Bangladesh. I don't think she gets there very often. So the opportunity is here and the technology is here, and all Bangladesh has to do is get their act together and fire up 1 million smartphones every day to go out and tell the story about what's happening in Bangladesh. It ain't that hard to do. If the government of Bangladesh wants to hire us, get in touch with me right away. Now, there's an interesting analogy here, and that is about Napoleon, which you may find boring, but I think it's interesting, so I'll just tell you for a second. Napoleon took this messed up little country, France, following the revolution, and pretty much conquered most of Europe. And the reason he did it was that he had a huge army. This is called the Grande Armée, right? He had about 3 million people. They're all peasants that he put to work and trained to be soldiers. Most of them were illiterate, and he taught them to march by going hay foot, straw foot. He put a piece of hay on one shoe, straw on the other one, and almost conquered the world. Every other country had little tiny professional armies and fancy uniforms with buttons and stuff like that. Napoleon's lesson can be taken by every other person who feels like, whether they're a city, a country, an organization that feels like they are being screwed by the media world and getting a bad reputation. You can take control of your footprint in the media world. All you gotta do is fire up the cameras. And you have them already, everybody's got one. I hope you found that interesting. If you did, sign up for thevj.com. We're waiting for you. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you want to learn more and see more, come and see us at thevj.com. Is that right?